welcome to another review from Colour with Claire. Today we're reviewing the absolutely stunning Mysteria by Anastasia, Elly, Koldareva. Now this book is just incredible. I can tell already, even though it's just mid-January, that this book is going to be one of my favourites of this year. Now, the production quality is brilliant, but most importantly of all, the illustrations are just incredible. The talent here is immense, and you'll see as we go through. So the book itself is 26 by 27 centimetres square. It has a ring binding that goes all the way down the left-hand side here, and that allows you to manipulate the book any way you want. It makes it so that it's flat wherever you are in the book, and you don't have to mess about with spines falling back on you and stuff. So all good colourists love a spiral binding. So the paper itself, again, a testament to the quality of the book. It is thick cardstock, it's bright white, and it has a beautiful texture to it. It's very lightly toothed, so it's not going to, be too deep and too heavy for coloured pencils. It's also really thick, so you can use pretty much whatever you want on this paper. You can use watercolours, markers, alcohol inks, pencils, anything you like, just chuck it at the book because it's absolutely brilliant quality. So you can see first of all that we have this nameplate page. You can pop your name there and colour the illustration on here as well. And then without further ado, the first illustration we've already coloured. So I had to choose this one because as I was looking through the book, every single illustration just really called out to me, and I couldn't choose one particular one that was my favourite. So I just thought I'll start at the top, do the very first illustration and make my way through the book that way. So I used Prismacolor Pencils on this. Now, a lot of people have been asking me since I posted the picture on my social media the colours that I used. So I'll just quickly run through that in case you're interested. So Prismacolor Pencils, I used Crimson Lake for the top of the hair and the darker areas. I then used Carmine Red for the lighter pink shadows, and a very slight touch of indigo blue in the very deepest of creases and shadows in the hair. Now for the skin, I used my usual combo of light peach, nectar, henna and Braid lavender. And I use the same colour as the hair for the lips. And then the rose hips, which are these kind of bulbous plants here, I didn't know what colour they were because I'm not any good at sort of plants and flowers and identification or anything like that. So I coloured the hair first, and I was really pleased with how that turned out. I knew it was going to pop from the page and be kind of mermaidish, very aerial. And then I asked on my community group on Facebook what type of flowers these were and what colour they were. And it ended up that they were about the same as the hair, which really kind of annoyed me at first because I wanted there to be a contrast. I didn't want these to fall back into the hair and not look, really bold and separate. So what I did was I added a little bit of yellowed orange into the colours that I used on the rose hips, which actually is true to life for these flowers anyway. And I think just adding that touch of yellowed orange has really separated them from the hair. I hope so anyway. For the leaves, I can't remember what I used, but I know that I used a little bit of Carmine Red on the tips and the edges of the leaves because that's what the rose hip leaves look like. They have this pinkish red tone in them as well. Now for the flowers, I used Parma Violet and Process Red and then some Deco Pink to sort of blur out into the white of the flower. So that's the colours that I used mainly on this page, and I love how it turned out. Absolutely beautiful. So every single illustration in this book is contained within a circular format, which I absolutely adore. If you've seen my reviews before, you'll know I love it when they're contained within frames, and every single illustration in this book is. So it's all girls, beautiful portraiture, and also lots and lots of flowers and leaves and nature as well. So this, come on, first of all, you've got this beautiful hairstyle, which really helps when you're trying to colour different types of hair and also gauge where your shadows and highlights are within hair that sort of is folded and twisted in different ways. Beautiful, again, a bit more shaded this illustration. And we have some gorgeous fish and some lily pads and some pebbles. This one has a Native American sort of feel to it. We have this frame with gems and jewels all the way around. Her hair is plaited and braided. and we have wings coming out of the side of her head here. With, I think this is a headdress that she's wearing. Just stunning. I mean, you know that I absolutely adore colouring girls, colouring people. Laura Rafferty, Sakuums, Mariola Budek are just a few of my favourite illustrators because they draw girls just so beautifully, and Anastasia's style is very much in the vein of those three as well. Now this one I adore because you know how I love my horror, and this will remind you of Silence of the Lambs, the cover for that horror film, and I just adore it. So I'm thinking of even making this into a very creepy Silence of the Lambs kind of themed illustration. I think that'd be, even though it's so beautiful and we want to do it in gorgeous colours and do it justice, I think this is a really good candidate to do a complete makeover and sort of Halloween it. So again, very kind of Native American here with the feathers. She has an owl. It sort of feels to me like this is her spirit animal. There's a lot of feathers, as I say, beads and gorgeous twists in her hair. You're going to have a great time figuring out how to colour all of these different hairstyles. So we've got a side portrait here. Again, very good for figuring out highlights and shadows on different positions of faces. And she has this chameleon lizard, I think it's a chameleon anyway, on her shoulder. Just stunning. I love the eyes. I think the eyes really make all of these illustrations. They seem to just look straight out of the page and into your soul. That's how they make me feel anyway. Just stunning. I love these loose wavy ringlets and the pretty little delicate sort of cherry blossom like flowers that are around her here. This lady has her eyes closed. She looks like she's in a deep meditation, and I'm a massive fan of bees. I love bees, so I'm going to be colouring this one for sure. I'm going to be colouring them all because I just think the talent and the quality of the illustrations is second to none. So this lady here looks as if she's a hybrid of a human and some sort of fairy or insect. She has these little feelers coming out of the top of her hair. She's got beautiful translucent looking wings, and she's kind of made up of pebbles or scales on her body. So she's definitely a sort of hybrid of something anyway. And we have lovely leaves around her. She's obviously in the forest. That's her habitat. So again, we've got another little bee. We've got what could be the moon or the sun in the background there. You could make that look kind of, have that kind of depth in that way. And some beautiful vine-like flowers going around. We've got clovers, and you know, I've seen all of these flowers before, but I never know what they're called. I've seen these plenty of times. But yes, I love this hairstyle, the braid around the head. Now this is one that Colour and Chat with Sammy, the lovely Sammy, did on her channel as a colour along. So go ahead to Sammy's channel if you want to go and colour this with her, because she did an absolutely incredible job. I believe she did it all with Copic markers. She may have used some pencil over the top. I haven't seen the entire series of the streams on this, but it turned out amazingly. The fish in particular looked incredibly realistic. So pop over to her channel and have a look at that. So here we've got loads and loads of crystals, cluster crystals and rocks and gems hanging from this very elaborate headdress that she's wearing. Beautiful Afro-Caribbean hair. Again, another kind of challenge for you to colour. See if you can colour this type of hair. And again, with the crystals, I can just see this being beautiful pops of very bright, vivid colour all over here. Another gorgeous illustration. You know, there's not enough adjectives or superlatives really for this book. I just absolutely adore it. Look at the eyes on this girl. Beautiful. We've got they look like kingfishers to me, and the big blooms in her hair as well. They're coming for the nectar. So here we've got a little, it looks like it could be a moth type of creature, just settling on the leaves of this flower in her hair. Big face on this one. So it might be a good one to try pan pastels if you have those. I did a tutorial on my channel, if you look back through my videos, of how to do skin with pan pastels, and it really worked out beautifully. So with this larger area, you might want to try that. Here we've got, kind of reminds me of a woodland princess. She has all of these branches and vines curled around her head, and we have the birds sat on top. just gorgeous. There's just not enough words. So this lady is wrapped in a blanket, a beautifully flower patterned blanket, and her hair is just going, it's got a mind of its own, this one. Her hair is blowing away in the wind. And yeah, I love the whimsy of these illustrations as well. So this really reminds me of the ram from the Zodiac. You can see how her hair is curled and shaped into the ram's horns. And I absolutely adore this neck cuff that she's wearing, just studded with crystals. And it looks as though it has a break in it there, but it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. And we have the crystals sort of framing the circle as well. Another underwater beauty here, very mermaid-like. This might be a good one to practice your mermaid hair or unicorn hair. She's got the beautiful beads coming out of her headdress. We have coral and seaweed and starfish, and just beautiful, that one as well. Loads and loads of crazy ringlets on this page. You're going to have tons of fun doing that. The book that I reviewed recently, 101 Textures in Coloured Pencil by Denise J. Howard, I think. She had a brilliant tutorial in that book for colouring very, very tight ringlets and making them look realistic. So you might want to check that one out as well. So we've got another beach beauty here. This one looks slightly more exotic in her appearance. It kind of reminds me of Moana or something like that. So she's got beautiful, straight, wet, kind of just jumped out of the sea kind of hair. Beautiful almond-shaped eyes, beautiful full lips, and she's holding this huge conch shell. I mean, I can imagine this one, her eyes being the really outstanding, beautiful blue or green in this illustration. I know that I keep talking about the eyes, but so here we've got an owl and her friend, and they're just having a little nap together. Very sweet illustration, that one, very sort of young and charming. So we've got a whole naked back here, which is going to be super for learning how to colour kind of backs, when even if they've got a top on that's sort of half covering the back, or it's got bits that are cut out, and you want to learn highlights and shadows of this part of the body that's not commonly seen in colouring books, this is a really good one for that. I adore how her hair just sort of turns from the twists into these flowers that are protruding out here. You can't see where the hair ends and the flowers begin. It's just stunning. And again, this sort of back charm long piece of jewellery just really adds to it. It's just stunning. Then we have this girl with her hair twisted up into, I don't know what you'd call this. They're not pigtails, but they're kind of side horns. Side horns? And she has all of the little branches and thistles. I think these are thistles coming out of her hair. She's got this animal skull kind of necklace, animal skull and teeth. She's wearing ripped kind of leather hide clothes. She looks very sort of into the wilderness kind of person, like she's living amongst all of the nature. And there we go. That's the end of the book, unfortunately. I would love this to go on forever and ever, but it can't. Now, on the back of the book, you have a very thick piece of board. Did you hear that? Let me do it again. For you to lean on. So if you like colouring on your knee watching TV like me, you've got a bit of a hard back there for you to colour on. So what more can you say after this long review of me just telling you how amazing it is? It really is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Now, where can you get it from? So you can buy it on Etsy. There are a couple of sellers on there that have it. I think they're only shipping from Korea at the moment, those sellers, when I last checked. And then you can also buy it from Anastasia herself if you email her on the address that's going to be in the description. Now, price-wise, I know that the book is around $20 US, which I think is just fine. It's just a fine price for this. I would not have any qualms paying that whatsoever. I know that it's quite high, considered to be quite high for a colouring book, but for this one, definitely think it's worth it. Postage is obviously going to be different wherever you live, so get in touch with Anastasia, tell her where you live, ask her for a postage estimate, but most importantly of all, get yourself a copy of Mysteria. You will not regret it. It is stunning. So let me know in the comments what you think of the book, and I will see you soon on Colour with Claire.